Welcome to Financial Issues, where we help you steward faithfully by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
This is Financial Issues, where we help you defund darkness and fund the light by investing with biblical integrity. Seth Udinsky, Sam Case, and your host, Mark Manila. Mark, great to be today.
Well, thanks, Seth. It's great to be here on Winning Wednesday, one of my favorite days of the week.
Winning Wednesday.
I know some people call it Hump Day, which is a good day too, because for some people they're halfway through their work week and getting toward their weekend. But for us, it's winning. We focus on the wins for those Christians, for the biblical concepts. Actually, it's God wins. This is what it comes down to, is wins for God, where we see wonderful things happening in the power of his hand in this world that gives us a little more faith and a little more strength to keep going and keep pursuing, walking in his ways. So welcome to the show. We're glad you're with us today. We got a few things coming up today, some interesting thing. I guess the idea that the administration is seeing positive signs of GDP growth is something worth talking about today. And another massive company on Wall Street, this is what's really exciting, has decided to scrap DEI program. And we love seeing it, don't we?
We sure do, Mark. It's a good thing to see. Folks, if you want to join the conversation, now is the time to call in. Give us a call at 610-363-1110. Also, just want to let everyone know, if you are a partner, we are aware of the issues going on with the portfolio tracker right now. We're working on getting those fixed there, so we'll keep you up to date as quickly as possible. Our website team is on that right now, so just stay tuned for that. But appreciate so many of you chimed in on the chat to let us know what was going on for you. If you see that, feel free to let us know also. Give us a call if you want to talk to us today, folks. We would love to answer your financial question at 610-363-1110. Mark, to start off here, I think it'd be good for us to just keep an eye on the fact that later today we do have a Fed interest rate decision that's looming, gentlemen. Sam, what do we need to know about this one?
Coming down from Mount Fed, right, to give that decision. So that is this afternoon. Fed watchers, if you trust them, I'm not sure I do, but they're predicting a nearly 90% chance that the Fed will cut rates by a quarter point this afternoon. This also comes as Trump prepares to announce his new pick for the Fed chair to replace Jerome Powell. In fact, he's interviewing the potential replacements this week for their final interviews. He tells Politico, that is Trump, he expects Jerome Powell's replacement to immediately cut interest rates. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett, who himself is the front runner to be the next Fed chair, says there's now, quote, plenty of room to cut interest rates, though he did say that such a decision should ultimately be based on the Fed's judgment, not on the whims of the president.
You know, you got to love Hassett. He's so gentle the way he presents stuff, and yet he said the right things. It can't be the president determining this. It should be the Fed chair. It should be the Federal Reserve. Even though I hate the Federal Reserve, they should be the ones in control of it. Otherwise, think of the manipulation a politician that we don't like in the White House could do with our economy, how easily they could destroy it. So, maybe Hassett would make a good Fed chair. I think that's something that I've seen a lot worse. Actually, we're living through a lot worse. So I don't know. I think this might be a good thing. As far as the market, I think most of the markets anticipated this quarter point drop. If it doesn't happen, we'll probably see some reaction, knee-jerk reactions going on, and it's just the way it is. But, as a long-term investor, our philosophy, what we try to preach and teach here is that we're long-term investors. We don't move on the knee-jerks. We're not trying to catch every up and down. What we're trying to do is grow wealth over the long term, grow God's money over the long term to be used to his glory and for his purposes. So we don't, if it doesn't happen, we'll see, we could see if it doesn't happen, we could see a pullback or a rise, because I've talked to just as many people who think that, and we don't really need the pullback right now. It might hurt some things. Other people are saying, boy, if we got that, we'd see real estate jump and then we'd see this and that. But, I don't know.
You're referring to the interest rate cut, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mark, I have a question about this.
Trying to trade. I'm sorry, Sam. Go ahead. Trying to trade on Fed announcements is that proverbial trying to catch a falling knife. It may work once, but so many other times you're going to end up with cuts and losing fingers. Because you never know. Sometimes the markets go up, sometimes they go down. It's just all knee-jerk reaction. Thank God we don't have to worry about that, being long-term investors and being in Christ, where we know God's got it anyway. We move on stewardship, not speculation.
Mark, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was one of the things I was wondering is if someone wants to make a trade, like for example, say you're a younger person, you're building out a portfolio and you see some stocks on the buy list, you want to build out a position and they want to make a trade today. Is today not a good day to make a trade? And I know I'm speaking in short-term language here, but is it better to wait until
Seth
after
timing the markets?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Should we do some kind of market timing today? Or is it better to just say, you know what, if I am going to buy a stock, I'm going to do it when I'm ready to do it. If I have the money to do it, I'm going to do it. What should we do?
If you're ready to buy, if you found the stocks that you like, if you think that this is something that will be great for your long-term portfolio, I'd say go for it. If you haven't found anything, then don't push to get in just because you think there might be a bump. That bump, whatever which way it goes, that bump could last, 15 minutes, an hour, half a day. By the end of the day, it could be totally gone. And definitely within a couple of days, it won't even matter anymore because it'll readjust to reality and longer term and fundamentals and all the things that actually make the stock market work. So I wouldn't even worry about it. If you, last night before you went to bed, you said, oh, this is the one stock I like. That'll fit perfectly in my asset allocation over here in consumer goods or over here in technology. I think I'll wait to see what the Feds say tomorrow before I buy it, though. No, you should just go ahead and do it. If you found it, if it's what's needed in your portfolio, go for it, and don't rush it if you haven't found it.
Well, we learned how short-lived those bumps were a couple of weeks ago with that NVIDIA earnings call, because I think I was up 5% overall that day, and then by the end of the day, I was down 6%. So,
Sam, I'll never forget that day.
That's a perfect example, Sam.
Early in my investing career, that'll be a day I'd never forget for sure. That's good stuff. Mark, I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, remember, we move on stewardship, not speculation.
Well said. 610-363-1110. Folks, give us a call. 610-363-1110. Elsewhere, we're seeing, looks like home delistings are surging. Sam, what do we got there? What's going on?
Well, Seth, you just said the story, right?
That's basically what it is, right?
They're surging.
I took Sam's job.
Oh, that's the type of day it's going to be today.
Is, yeah. I'm feeling moody. It's because it's Wednesday. But yeah, Realtor.com, this is where this data comes in. It comes from the month of October, showing those delistings. They were up 38% year over year. Delistings over the course of 2025, meanwhile, to date, those are up about 45% from the same period in 2024 as well. So surging might be an understatement.
Yeah, so in case folks aren't familiar, Mark, with those terms, a delisting, I assume, is just when a home is going to be for sale and then they take it off the market.
They're pulling it from the market.
Right.
Right. And most of this, I think from what I've researched, most of the people pulling their homes off the market is because they got greedy and they overpriced them, and then the buyers don't want to pay those overprices. They saw the real estate valuations going up, and they're seeing houses sell. They saw houses sell at a premium to how they were listed, so people started adjusted to the premiums and then a little bit more, and then they couldn't sell their houses. So what they have to do is they have to pull them off the market for a while. Otherwise, the listing gets long and people start saying, well, this has been on the market a whole lot longer than it should have been, so let's go in and give them a low price on it.
And don't people begin to think, oh, what's wrong with the house?
Exactly. That's exactly the thinking. So they pull it off the market. That doesn't mean that they're done selling their house. It just means it's a strategy to get it back on the market once the time frame goes by where it doesn't give people the feeling that something was wrong. We're in a strange place in the real estate market as well. We still don't have the inventory we need, but inventory seems to be catching up a little bit. I think there's some home builder information coming out today. One of the stocks on the FISM buy list is a home builder, and they're doing some reporting today. I'm interested in seeing what they said to see see what their insights are on it. But we do need more inventory. I know that the builders have actually begun to start building starter houses again. For a while, they would not build starter houses. They made better money by building larger homes, the $450,000 to $1.5 million homes. So there was very little starter houses on the market. New starter houses, just the older ones. And now they're starting to build those, realizing that's where the push is. We have a younger generation who need that, and that's a good thing. I'd like to see a whole lot more new starter houses come out, especially for the new year, because then we could get a lot of these young ones into houses and stop their whining about not being able to buy a house.
Hey, man, you're speaking my language, Mark. I love that. If you're one of those youngins and you want to be, tell us what you think, give us a call, or anyone, 610-363-1110. We'll be right back.
There are moments in life that define us. Choices determine the courses we take. Choices that create life, or those that save a life, and some make life worthwhile. There are decisions to stay, or to go, to remain the same, or to grow.
Are you tired of the chaos? There are a lot of things that make noise, but only a few that truly matter. As a parent, I want to leave something that will last for a long time.
You invest $300 a month interest on unmanaged by the time you retire.
Not just an inheritance of money, but a legacy of godly values.
Here at Financial Issues, we want to help you grow your money, but our main goal is to help you honor God with the money that He's given you.
Invest your money in a God-honoring way. Go to financialissues.org.
Preborn is making motherhood possible for thousands of moms across America.
I found out that I was pregnant. My family, they were like, no, you're not having this baby. I met Miss Linda. She offered to get me an ultrasound. That's where I very first heard the heartbeat. It was really a great thing that I was led to the choice to keep him.
To find out how you can support the life-saving mission of Preborn, go to preborn.com/FISM.
Folks, give us a call, 610-363-1110. Again, 610-363-1110. Hey, if you're looking for the commentary, by the way, folks, we have a updated schedule for our commentary. Weekly commentary will come out on Wednesdays. So middle of the week, winning Wednesday, hump day, whatever you want to call it. That is also commentary day. So make sure that you keep an eye out for that in the middle of the week. That's when we'll be putting those out. I know some of you in the chat were asking that there. Mark, one of the things that I love most in this world is young children, particularly my own. But what I also love is ministries who fight for and protect young children. Yeah. I especially love ministries that protect young children, and Preborn's one of them. Just amazing work that they do in saving babies from abortion and then sharing the gospel, making it a point to share the gospel to these families, knowing that if these families love Jesus Christ, then those children who were saved from abortion through Preborn's work are now going to have a great chance to also be saved from their sins. It's amazing. Yeah. Really amazing. Yeah. Check them out, folks, preborn.com. If you're looking for a place to do year-end giving, great place to do it. preborn.com/FISM. All right, fellas, it's time for some Winning Wednesday, shall we? Let's get to it. The big story that we're seeing is, and Mark, you had teed this up at the beginning of the show, that there's a big company out there that is scrapping its DEI program. Sam, tell us, what is that company?
AT&T, a little late to the party, though, I might say, because already we've seen so many companies doing this. But AT&T, better late than never. They have become the latest company to end DEI programs after sending a letter to FCC Chair Brendan Carr. The company said it will no longer use hiring quotas on the basis of race, gender, or sexual orientation. This, of course, comes as the Trump administration continues to crack down on woke racial discrimination. And by the way, you might ask, what was AT&T doing? Well, they had some pretty sketchy training programs, including one that called racism a uniquely white trait, and also told white employees that they are the problem with the country.
So they were fighting racism with racism. That
exactly.
ought to work real well.
Yeah, it sounds like they're returning to equal treatment in the quota-based hiring, which they did, and also the DEI trainings, which were very racist. DEI is racist, so anything to do with it is racist. So they're ending those ideologies, trainings, and getting back to training people to be great people in their corporation, great employees, which they should be doing. I think that's great. And like you said, it's a little late. But, I was thinking about this as I saw that headline, and I wonder how much money Biden's government paid or filtered through to all these corporations to do these programs. And if the reason they're getting away from them is because there's no more government money coming to them, and not because they're leaning toward a more free, moralistic society, you see what I'm saying there?
No, I get what you're saying.
They only do it for the money.
Well, I also wonder, was there legal pressure, too, from the Biden administrations that you're going to do DEI
absolutely.
or we're going to accuse you of being racist? Be racist or we're going to accuse you of being racist and come after you.
Right.
But be racist in the way that...
In the right way, yeah.
In the right way.
But I'm thinking there was money flowing into these corporations.
Yeah.
Grants and all sorts of money. Places like AT&T... I'm sure there's a whole floor somewhere in Texas on a high-rise building of grant writers that work for AT&T, and for every large corporations where they just get every dollar they can out of the government for things. And what happened here was, along with the stick of being called racist and being opposed by the Biden administration, there was also incentives like, hey, how about hundreds of millions of dollars to do this? And now that the money's gone, we have to pay for this? I don't think so. That's my thought on it anyway. Companies...
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just still get a kick out of them saying, we're not going to hire on the basis of race anymore. It's just them giving the game away. Yeah, we were being racist. It's just amazing that it's right there.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm glad you brought that up, though. It's a realistic perspective, because I think sometimes, at least when I see a headline like this, maybe in a naive way, I think, look at this. This company is turning around. They're seeing the light. When the reality is, no, they're just following the money.
Yeah,
There's
I hate to be cynical like that.
But I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah. It's amazing what people do for money. Divide our country. Call diversity. Call racism diversity. It's just ugliness for a buck. That's what it should be.
It is.
UFB, ugliness for a buck.
Well said.
It's not DEI, it's UFG.
Yeah.
For UFB. Anyway.
Mark, I think nonetheless, we can look at this with a realistic perspective, but it's also a win. I mean, this is Winning Wednesday, and I think it is a win. Anytime we see a company scrapping blatant racism, no matter the reason for it, we're glad they do it. And honestly, it kind of gets back to what we try to do here. We're okay with companies scrapping things for monetary reasons. If it's because you want to make money, that's great. That's what we want you to do. We're invested in you to make money. We're not invested in you to promote DEI or all that other nonsense.
But not at the expense of the dignity of humans.
Yeah.
Not at the expense of causing people to stumble on their way to Christ. Not at the expense of causing people to compromise their values. I have friends who had to get their jabs so they can keep their jobs at the hospital. I have people who, there's a lot of things like that. DEI is dirty, ugly, evil, filthy, and we're done with it. So let's go ahead and move on away from that.
DEI, dirty, evil, idiotic is maybe what we call it.
Really, Yeah. So 610-363-1110. Give us a call if you'd like to join the conversation, if you want to get in on the DEI or any of the subjects we talked about, or something that's on your mind.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you.
Or maybe you want to talk about capital gains tax, like Craig, who's calling from Ohio. Mark, why don't we get to Craig?
Let's talk to Craig. Yeah. Good morning. What's on your mind, Craig?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I
honored.
Have a biblically irresponsible mutual fund, and the advisor is suggesting making an exchange into another biblically irresponsible fund, which is a little less biblically irresponsible, to offset capital gains tax. So, one of the recommendations okay, because it was a tax exempt one that was okay, clean, and the other one was just a stock to sell it. So those two I'm okay with, but this other one is a victory fund that is going into another fund, and I don't want to do that. So if I just sell the victory floating rate fund, do I get the same benefit, or do you have to make an exchange? That's my question. I know you're not.
You don't have to make an exchange to reap the benefits of tax loss harvesting. You just sell it, and you don't buy back into. If it's a stock, you don't buy back into it over the next 30 days. You will be able to take any capital losses that you have on that to offset any of your capital gains. So you don't have to go in. You don't have to rush into anything. You could go into cash or go into the money market and just hold your money till you find something that is biblically responsible. So I think it's great if you could sell an ugly stock or mutual fund for a tax loss and get out of it and move on, and then reposition that money into something that doesn't grieve God's heart or compromise your Christian values. That's a beautiful thing. Take your time, find the right funds and or stocks to do that. I really appreciate that you're doing that, actually. And what a better time. Get paid, help reduce your taxes by moving more towards your Christian values. Now, I wouldn't move into a fund that's a little less dirty. I would move into a fund that isn't dirty. If I gave you a brownie and you started eating, and I said, oh, by the way, I just put a little bit of poop in there, you wouldn't say, hey, I can't eat this. It's got poop in there. And it's like, well, it's just a little bit. You won't taste it. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's only a little bit. The bottom line, it's still tainted. It's still full of poop, and we don't want it. And that's what a lot of mutual funds are. They're full of poop, and we need to move on from them into pure and clean. I really want to encourage you to do that, because wonderful and righteous things ripple through your life when you honor God with all He's entrusted to you. So I hope that helps, Craig.
You. Appreciate it.
God bless.
Bye.
Great call, Craig. Love that. Get into the call queue now, folks. 610-363-1110. Guys, interesting headline here that I'm seeing. Let's go to this story because I think it's fascinating. It's not as much a financial story, but I think one that we certainly connects to the heart of our ministry that we can talk about this. The Nobel Peace Prize is apparently being awarded today. And Sam, give us the details about who's receiving this award.
Yeah, this is going to Venezuelan opposition leader. I hope I don't ruin her name, but I think it's Maria Corina Machado. We'll go with that. But she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, and that's for her opposition to the reign of communist dictator Nicolas Maduro. The frustrating thing about this is I read multiple articles about this story, and none of them seem to mention that Nicolas Maduro is a communist dictator, a socialist dictator, you name it. All they mentioned was that Machado here is trying to bring democracy to Venezuela. So that is frustrating. The cool thing, though, is that she did dedicate the award, at least in part, to President Trump. One, for his opposition to Maduro, but two, in fact, she says she thinks that he deserves next year's prize, mostly for his work in the Middle East, his peace deals in the Middle East, but also his work to end conflicts really around the world, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Mark, with what we just talked about, I think there's a lot of connections between DEI and communism. What do we make of this? How should we interpret it?
Well, I love it in the sense that here's somebody who is standing for democracy and won a Nobel Prize. I love it that she recognized Trump and that the Nobel Prize Committee did not, and that's just a shame. They gave Obama a Nobel Prize for winning the presidential election.
It was for what he said he was going to do, and then Trump actually does things, but he says some things they don't like, so they don't give it to him.
The Nobel Prize Committee has issues, but this is a good, I'm glad she received it. I'm glad she gave the credit where it's due. I would have liked to see credit given to God, but I also agree with you. What the news doesn't say is as powerful as what they do say, and it's how they program people. By not mentioning the communism, not mentioning the oppression, not mentioning how the economy has been destroyed by these ideologies from this maniac that's now in power over there, they help keep the communist socialist agenda alive, and by not mentioning the ugliness of it all. So I think you nailed that when you brought that up, Sam.
That's great.
Well, and you can tell they always code democracy trademark as meaning left-wing ideals. So in a way, it's like they're trying, I would think they're trying to almost dig this at Trump because he's a threat to democracy. She's pro-democracy. Of course, she's trying to stop a communist, but we can't talk about that.
Right. Sam, isn't that funny? You know, it does often seem to be that those who promote communism for real, they do it under the guise of, well, we're just trying to promote democracy, but yet we're seeing someone here standing against it. I think it's really good. Boy, those first two segments went by fast, folks, so you're going to have to get into the call queue right now. It's 610-363-1110. If you have to leave us, we do hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And, of course, you might be listening to a version of the show that's a pre-record later in the day. Join us every day at 9:05 Eastern Time on financialissues.org/watch. For the rest of you, more financial issues right after this.
My wife and I, we moved into this neighborhood. We had some experience with Crossroads Kids Club. We had served at another club. We kind of thought to ourselves, like, it would be really, really cool for us to actually bring in a club that was able to share the love of Jesus with kids directly into the school. And so we started our Crossroads at Hilltop.
Crossroads is amazing. You can learn all kinds of things about God. That He loves all of us. He died on the cross to pay for our sins. That He will help me in every way.
There is just such tremendous opportunity to reach kids in some of these areas that just aren't being reached.
Sometimes I pray every night. When I feel alone sometimes, God is right there sitting next to me. I can rely on Him no matter what happens.
Help reach kids with the hope of the gospel. Visit reachOurschools.com.
Tony is calling from the great state of Minnesota.
Hi, Seth. I've been a partner for probably about 6 years, and I've been a monthly soldier for probably about 5. I wanted to talk about the value of financial issues. A full-service broker was managing my portfolio for a number of years, and I was paying them 1% of my portfolio value for all the things that they did for me. The things that they were doing is pretty much the same thing as Financial Issues is doing, as far as stock picks and asset allocation and live advice. The idea that you're only charging, $135 a year, that is ridiculously low when I was paying 1% of my portfolio value. So I think everyone, all the partners, should be a monthly soldier.
Thank you for standing with us, man. It's an honor to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, brother.
Invest without compromise. Go to financialissues.org to get started today.
When a woman comes into a center, she's being pressured from her family, from her friends, by her circumstances, by the rhetoric of the culture to believe that this is a quick and easy way out. If a woman sees her baby on ultrasound, it doubles the likelihood that she'll choose life. And on top of that, we share the gospel of Jesus Christ with her. This is why you should support preborn. The donations that you give actually make a difference. Last year, 59,000 babies were saved because of what you have done with your generosity. And so we just encourage you to make a difference at whatever degree you can, whether you can do a $28 contribution for one ultrasound, whether you can underwrite an ultrasound machine for $15,000 or 10 ultrasound machines for $150,000. Where does the Lord have you so that you can make a difference?
To find out how you can support the life-saving mission of Preborn, go to preborn.com/FISM.
Christmas, everyone. It's great to be here with you. 2 weeks till Christmas Eve. Exciting times here. The phone lines are wide open. Give us a call at 610-363-1110. Again, 610-363-1110. By the way, guys, if anyone listening out there would like a copy of Mark's book, The Wall Street Awakening, make a donation of any amount to the ministry right now, and make sure to say in the subject line, I'd like a copy of Mark's book. It's a great read, Mark. I'm reading through it right now.
Great Christmas gift.
Great Christmas gift. Yeah, if you're looking for a stocking stuffer, I think it can fit in a stocking, so make sure that you do that, or just stick it under the tree. That's fine.
It might get bent that way. I don't know if we want to do that.
That's right.
It's a great book also for somebody who's thinking about BRI but has all these straw man arguments against it. It goes directly to the Bible and utilizes God's word to show them the truth. And you can't argue with God's word if you're a believer. You have to go in. And so if somebody says, yeah, but, and this says, yeah, but here, this is where God actually says this.
Yeah.
And so it's a great resource for somebody who's on the fence or somebody you're trying to help to get closer to Christ through their finances by investing with biblical integrity. In fact, we had a couple of testimonies on that, one the other day on the show, I believe.
Yep. So it's a great gift. If you're looking for great gifts also, folks, you can gift a partnership as well. This year, we're doing a special gift certificate that we're giving to anyone who wants to gift to partnerships. You can actually give them a physical gift certificate. It can go in the stocking under the tree. It'd be a great thing for a young person who you're interested in showing them how to invest with biblical integrity. It'd be a great thing to do. All right, guys, why don't we answer a couple questions here, shall we, Mark? 610-363-1110. Give us a call, folks. Eric, who's 52, is asking a great question, Mark. What is your recommendation, Mark, for taking profits?
Oh, that is a great question because there's so many reasons to take profits and so many reasons not to. So I think that's an excellent question. When do you take profits and under what circumstances? And it's not just a one trick answer because different circumstances could cause you to want to move quicker at doing that. So let's talk about this just for a little bit. First of all, through the lens of just practical profit-taking framework. Rebalance. When you rebalance your portfolio to get back into your asset allocation so that you get back to the diversity that you wanted to have from your stocks, from your holdings. If one stock starts taking over the majority, you get a stock, buy in at 3%, it grows to 30%. It may be time to rebalance your whole portfolio because that means almost everything's out of whack. When you do that, you'll take profits from those that have run up way too far. You might buy in some new products or stocks to rebalance the portfolio out with those profits that you take. So just a normal rebalance would do that. You want to trim when valuations, when the value of a company just goes through the ceiling. We don't want to be greedy. I know this sounds really strange, but I love letting winners run, but at some point they stop running and they stumble and they fall, and sometimes they have heart attacks and crash. So why not take the profits? If you see something where you doubled, tripled, quadrupled your investment, maybe that one stock needs to be pruned back and you need to lock in those gains. That's the way I look at it. When I start trimming back one of the holdings that I have, I don't look at it as being in fear. I'm trimming back and locking in those gains. I made, on $1,000, I made $2,000 of profit, and I trimmed that back to the original. I've just locked in that $2,000 gain, and I can reinvest that elsewhere and get more stocks in there and help maybe limit some of the ups and downs of that portfolio by doing that. And there's sometimes, the meme stock craze, that has gone crazy. It's the same thing. If it just shoots through the ceiling, you really don't want to hang on to those profits. You want to lock them in because just like we talked about earlier, knee-jerk reactions only last a very short time. So you want to do it then. I also would suggest, always, this is my conviction, this is our conviction on financial issues. Whenever a company loses their moral compass, whenever they turn dirty, whenever they start deciding to utilize the money that should go to growth or dividends to its stockholders to support some immoral ugliness, then it's time to sell that company. No matter what. It doesn't matter if it's the best company in the world for profit-wise or whatever. We do not partner with evil. That's God's word. We just don't do it. Awake to consciousness and do not sin. Do not lay your hands on someone too quickly, lest you participate in their sins. When we own a stock, we actually are a partner in that company. That is the legal aspect of it. You're an owner in it, therefore you're participating in whatever they do. If they're doing wonderful things like curing cancer, saving children, helping people live healthier lives, creating wonderful things to make life easier, you're participating in that. And if they do stuff like cause people to stumble on their way to Christ or in their relationship with Christ, or if they use and abuse people for their profit, if they're putting drugs or things out there that actually harm people more than help them, you're participating in that as well. If they're giving corporate money, if they're giving part of their earnings away instead of re-putting them into the growth of the company or giving them to you as dividends, and the people they're giving them to, the organizations, are promoting things that are ugly like abortion, pornography, sexual immorality, you're participating in that as well. So that's an absolute. If they cross the line, if they go from walking a straight line of something that is beneficial to society to creating products or services or donating to organizations that are trying to destroy people, use and abuse them, get out. Anything right away. That's the bottom line. That's a good time to take your profits and whatever you invested in it. So sell if stewardship alignment changes. Sell if the profits if the stock has grown and caused your whole portfolio to be out of balance. It's time to trim and to prune at that point and start rebalancing the asset classes and the sectors as needed. I hope that helped, Eric.
Mark, is it always a financial sin, say you get some profits, and to take some of those and maybe use them for something else besides reinvesting them, maybe use them to fortify the moat around your castle or something like that?
I don't know that's a neat term, financial sin, but no, it's not a financial sin to do that. Actually, one of the things that we've been preaching pretty strong is a lot of times people go into debt because they don't want to touch their investments to pay down their debt because they want to prepare for the future somehow. But they also don't have the cash flows in there, so they use credit cards for their debt because they don't have a buffer zone. So, and this is because a self-replenishing moat around their castle, an emergency fund. And that's very important. So if you take some of those profits and you set that up, and then you start some systematic way to replenish it as you take money out of it to fix the car, to fix the washing machine, to help with the roof, then that's a good thing too. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. It actually gets things more in line so you can grow more later on. And that's a really good thing.
Oh, that's great.
That is awesome. Thanks for that, Mark. Folks, give us a call now, 610-363-1110. We have our weekly Ag Focus coming just around the corner here, but we got a whole nother segment, but you're going to want to get in the call queue right now. We'd love to take your call today. Don't want to have to wait till tomorrow, so do it right now. 610-363-1110. Here comes Craig.
This is Craig Haugaard with your weekly financial issues Ag Focus. Today we're going to talk a little bit about yesterday's USDA supply and demand report. Now, the grain markets have struggled with a lot of unanswered questions lately. So yesterday we found USDA's December report in the hopes that some of those questions would be answered. Unfortunately, the December USDA report kept its reputation of being pretty boring. Very few changes typically occur in this report, and that was the case once again. The USDA acknowledged the good export program by exports for 25 million bushels. And from a world perspective, the Ukrainian numbers, world's ending stocks of corn by 2.1 million metric tons, gave us a little bit of a friendly reaction during yesterday's trade. Now, soybeans saw the USDA leave exports unchanged as they wait for China to come through on their commitments. That left the soybean domestic supply and demand numbers totally unchanged, although we did see a slight increase in world production and carry-out numbers. The USDA left the U.S. wheat balance sheet unchanged, but significant changes were made to the world wheat balance sheet, especially in the production estimates of world wheat exporters. The world production number increased by 8.7 million metric tons over the November projections. As changes were seen in production being increased in Argentina, Australia, Canada, Russia. Now, looking ahead, an interesting story that will be the impact of President Trump's $12 billion farm bailout and what impact that's going to have on acres next spring. The program is slated to generate proportional support to farmers using formulas to cover a model loss of the 2025 crop year. Now, it's going to be based on planted acres, cost of production estimates, and USDA data to generate the payment. Now, the size of the payment and the underlying assumptions will determine whether this bailout significantly affects acreage decisions in the next year. The concern is that payments like these will dull the price signal feedback of the market, which generally steers the U.S. producer in the right direction to achieve a semblance of balance in the markets. In other words, we could end up rewarding people for responding to government programs rather than being driven by actual signals from the free market with this program. Well, this has been Craig Haugaard with your Financial Issues Ag Focus. We'll be right back with more financial issues after this.
I started investing close to 30 years ago now. All that time, I had never heard anyone talk about setting up your portfolio in a way that glorifies God. When I first heard about it, I was listening to the radio, a show called Financial Issues. They were teaching people how to honor God with their money. I became a partner with Financial Issues, and it's been one of the best decisions I've made. Invest your money in a God-honoring way. Go to financialissues.org.
My name is Reagan Gardner, and I am in the 4th grade. Last year, I wanted to be like everybody else. I thought I had to act different, look different, and be different to be cool. When I joined Crossroads, I learned that God loves me just the way that I am.
Help reach more kids like Reagan with the hope of the gospel. To learn more about Crossroads Kids Club and how you can get involved, visit reachOurschools.com.
In the last 10 to 15 years being in ministry, being married, something that has been constant in our lives is Samaritan Ministries. As we've moved, we've had babies, we've had different things come up, we have just been able to rely on Samaritan in ways that we never really even thought about before becoming members.
Our heart's desire is to plant roots and be in a place for a really long time. It's how we were raised. We see the benefits of that, but we also see the open-handedness of being used by the Lord wherever He calls, because we just assumed when we started pursuing church planting, the quickest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. And with the Lord, sometimes you find out it looks a lot more like this. And yet, Samaritan was with us through the entire thing.
We didn't have to look into, we have to change insurances now because we've moved states or whatever the case may be. And it's just been a real blessing to us in different phases of life.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Colleen.
We're the Gen X.
And we're Samaritan members.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
610-363-1110. Great to be here with you all today, folks. I love doing the show. It's just a lot of fun.
I do too.
Appreciate you all joining us. We got a call in the queue there, Mark. It's Dennis from North Carolina.
Let's go there. Hey, Dennis, good morning. Welcome to Winning Wednesday. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Mark, and you guys. Actually, I called in a couple of weekends ago, and I got you a book, Wall Street Awakening. Awesome
Praise
book.
God.
I do what you said. I read one article every day and kind of let it sink in. But the reason I'm calling is concerning Israel Fund TPCIX.
Okay.
I'm with
Israeli Common Values Fund. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm with Schwab, and I've been trying to buy this stock for about a month. And every time I try to buy it, it comes up. You can at this present time you cannot buy this. If you have questions, call. So I gave them a call yesterday, and they told me if you already have that stock, you can sell, but you cannot buy at the present time. And I was just wondering, is that normal?
No, it's not normal. My platform is Schwab, and I know I own it, but that's not what you're saying. They're saying they're not going to allow people to buy it anymore?
At the moment, you can't.
Yeah, at the moment. Okay. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand that. But what I'll do, Dennis, is I will call Schwab. I'll get a hold of them and I'll find out. I'll also get a hold of Timothy Plan, see if they have any insights into this, because there's no reason for that to be true unless I can't think of any reason. And maybe it has to do with the share that, what are you trying to buy, iShares or A shares or what?
I'm just trying to, I'm not that, I'm kind of new at this, but I know this is one of your buys, and I was wanting to get it because I don't have any fun in this area. I don't have any stock.
Well, you just surprised me by saying it's at Schwab, because I've never had any problems with the Timothy Plans at Schwab. So this is what I'll do, Dennis. Please stay on the line. Leave your email address, or we probably have it, and we have your mailing address. But just make sure you leave your email address, and I'll get back to you with what I find out from Schwab and Timothy Plan. Okay.
Okay, and I had one other quick question too. If you don't mind.
Absolutely.
You was talking earlier on the show today about if you have a stock that's doing really well and to lock it in and probably maybe sell if it's doing that well. What do you mean by exactly lock it in?
Lock in your profits. You take let's just, for ease of math and conversation, let's say you have $1,000 and you put it into Israeli Common Values Fund, and it grows to 3 times the value. Just for illustration, obviously these aren't real numbers right at the moment. So they almost are, it feels like, with that fund. But anyway, the fund's done well, Mark. Yeah, the fund did well this year. But it triples in its value. So now you have $2,000 of gains in it. Your asset allocation model says you should only have maybe 3 to 10% in that. Let's just say it's 10%, again, for ease of math. So now you have 30% of your portfolios in it. So you sell off the profits, bring it back down to within its asset allocation guidelines, and you take those profits and reinvest elsewhere. So that's locking in your profits. If you don't lock in your profits and the market falls on that item, let's just say it's a stock XYZ, and it goes up, it triples in price, and then it comes back down, you don't have that profit anymore. But if it goes up, it triples in price, you lock in the profits, you still have the investments, your original money in there. So if it continues to go up, what you left in there will continue to grow, but you've locked in those profits. Your portfolio now has that money to use elsewhere to redistribute into other investments, or use as God calls you to use, to give or whatever. If you're going to give, don't sell it. Give the shares directly so that you get the tax. You don't have to pay the tax on the gains. Does that make sense?
Yeah. My only question is, if you did sell enough to get back down to where you should be, you still have to pay taxes on the profits you made, though, right?
Well, if it's an IRA, no. If it's in an individual account, yes, you would be paying capital gains on it. But remember, we see capital gains as normal. That's the cost of doing business. Jesus saw it normal. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. We don't look at it like, well, you know what? I'm going to risk this stock that has run up 300% in 1 year. I'm going to risk losing those profits because I don't want to give Caesar what is due to Caesar. We say, just calculate it in. If it went up 100%, well, at the very least, you're going to get 70% of that. So you always look at it after tax, the total return of your investments, and don't let the government decide on your strategy. Yes, you consider it, but you don't just. You just don't, take additional risk because of it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you answering my questions, and I highly recommend your book to everyone. I really enjoy it.
Well, praise God. Thank you for that. It means a lot to me. Give the glory to God on that, because I know It's got my name on it as I wrote it, and God did use me as an instrument on this book, but I was accused once of, what's that term for copying stuff, other people's
plagiarism?
Work? Plagiarism, because like 50% of it is taken from the Bible. So,
Mark, I've found that's the one book that we're allowed to and probably should plagiarize. Actually,
it's an homage.
God gave it to me.
It's an homage to the Bible.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not a writer, and that God allowed me to write like that. It was amazing. It was very hard to do, but God gave me the words, and every now and then I go back and I read through it. I'm like, wow, that's a really good point. It's like, thank you, Holy Spirit, for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
God bless you, and thank you. Pick up a few of them by making a little donation to Financial Issues. I don't get anything off that. Even if you bought it at Amazon, I wouldn't get it, because anything on the retail end, if you buy it or if you buy it somewhere, all the profits go to More Than Money Ministries to help impoverished. We send those monies out. We help people pay bills. We help mentor people with that money. So all the profits from that book go to God's work, because I really believe it's God's book, not mine. So God bless you.
Dennis,
but
God
you
bless,
also
brother.
could just donate to the ministry here, and they will give you a book.
There you go. Hey, Dennis, I just put you on hold, brother. Why don't you stay on with Darlene, and you can give her your email address, so that way, Mark, we can follow up with him about the Schwab issue.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Great stuff. Well, guys, we teed up at the top of the show here that the Trump administration is feeling pretty good about potentially the future GDP growth in this country. Sam, what can you tell us?
That's coming from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, always the optimist, predicting the U.S. will end this year, 2025, with a 3% GDP growth overall. It's not just him either. The Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta predicts that annual GDP growth, that's going to hit 3.5%, so even higher than what Bessent is saying.
Mark, what do you think? Is he right?
Well, let me throw this back at both of you. What do you think I'm going to say?
That you don't have a crystal ball.
You don't know the future,
Nobody
Mark.
has a crystal ball. Nobody knows the future.
But it's so close, Mark, right? What's going to happen in 2 weeks?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. What's going to happen?
It's
we
not
don't know
predicting
what's
the
gonna
future.
happen.
It's an educated guess.
What do they call those sports betting markets now? Predictions?
Exactly. Nobody can predict the future. We're not going to invest on predictions. We will take it into account that somebody's done some research. They're seeing ramping up. There's good things happening. I believe that there's a lot of potential for good GDP in the future because of what Trump has done, what the administration has done, deregulating industries. By the way, the steel mill across the river here from St. Louis is opening up. The steel mill, U.S. Steel, is restarting all their boilers and all their furnaces up in Detroit, I heard.
Nice.
All this is going on. We're seeing a lot of activity happening as we bring industries back to the U.S., as we start rebuilding everything. So there's a lot of things that have been laid down. There's trillions of dollars going into our economy to get it up and running from private money, not government money, which is awesome. And so I think there's a lot of potential. If somebody would say, well, GDP is going to be 3 plus, I'd say, I don't know. But you know what I do know is the framework's laid, the road work is laid, the infrastructure is being laid. We have great potential ahead of us, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there as we move forward. This government has moved very hard. Inflation has come down, which means the increasing in prices has stopped rising at horrendous jumps like it did during the Biden administration. We have deregulation. We have so many things that are happening right. Money's not pouring into confusion and division organizations like it did for the previous 4 years. It's going into making our country great again. And this means that it could be a very great time to be investing, but only, and I believe this with all my heart, but only with biblical integrity, as our partners in Financial Issues all believe that if you want to honor God, it's in all aspects of your life, including how you invest. Thank you for loving God. Thank you for honoring him with investing with integrity. And thank you for being with us today. I really look forward to seeing you Thursday, the day after Winning Wednesday. God bless everyone. See you tomorrow.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an FISM production.